1 star. I'm running into just a couple issues on the way. Hot take with hot chocolate. I think hot chocolate with water tastes better than hot chocolate with milk. Oh, another hot take. I like peppermint hot chocolate more than regular hot chocolate. Let me know if you guys agree. Anyways, hello everyone. It's December 1st, which means it's officially holiday season. And with holiday season, actually no, let me backtrack a little bit. Within a lot of different communities, there are these like monthly challenges where every day you complete like a small challenge, right? My cousin's an artist, she loves to draw, and she was telling me about Inktober. I'm quite bad at drawing, so I did not partake in this challenge, but she was telling me about Inktober, where every day you have a new inking challenge. Now, I don't really know what inking is. I'm assuming it's just like using ink to draw. I'd imagine that putting ink down is a lot harder than like drawing with a pencil, so that's probably where the challenge part comes in. But the point is, there's a challenge every day. Now, within the programming community, there's also something like that, and it's called Advent of Code. If you celebrate Christmas, you might be familiar with the idea of like advent calendars. I personally did not grow up with advent calendars, so the first time I was gifted one by a friend, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, because the idea of it is there's a calendar and every day you like open it. The one I got was like chocolate, and I love chocolate, so it's like December 1st, you open it, there's a piece of chocolate. December 2nd, you open it, there's another piece of chocolate. But the idea of Advent of Code, as you probably could guess by now, it's a small programming challenge every day, I think for 12 days, starting December 1st. I have not done Advent of Code before, but I have heard of it. One of my professors in college was actually telling us about it and encouraging us to do it, but I, at the time, could barely write a for loop, so I didn't do it. But I was thinking that it might be kind of fun for me to do it this year, especially because I've been doing a lot of like project-based learning recently, and I feel like this type of challenge is quite different. I'm guessing that these challenges are gonna be more like LeetCode style, but with more of like a story and hopefully more exciting, because LeetCode kind of sucks. And the idea is that every day there's a small programming challenge that you can tackle. So that's what we're gonna be doing. It is unfortunately 10:51 p.m. right now, and they come out at 12 a.m. Eastern. I don't know if the previous day's challenge disappears. I really hope not. So I should probably get to this in case it does disappear. But yeah, that's what Advent of Code is. And I don't know if I did the best job explaining it, so I'm actually gonna go to the website. Eric Wastel, or Wastel, I really hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's the creator of Advent of Code. And it says here, Advent of Code is an advent calendar of small programming puzzles for a variety of skill levels that can be solved in any programming language you like. People use them as interview prep, company training, university coursework, practice problems, a speed contest, or to challenge each other. So this seems like a challenge that you can do like for any reason. I just hope it's not too difficult, because it's been a while since I've done stuff like this. Anyways, yeah, I just want to hop on here to kind of tell you guys about Advent of Code and also document myself going through it. I don't know if I'm gonna do all 12 days because I have an annoyingly busy week ahead, but I definitely want to do today because it's the first day of the challenge. And I also want to encourage you guys to also check it out, because I think this is going to be a very good way to practice programming and practice problem solving in a very fun and festive way. Okay, let's do this because there's an hour and 4 minutes before the next one comes out. And I don't want like the first one to not exist anymore when the next one comes out. So, all right, let's do it. Clean this, clean, clean, clean. Okay, I have the day 1 challenge pulled up. I'm gonna take some notes while I read through it because I like writing things down, otherwise I get very confused. Day 1, secret entrance. The elves have good news and bad news. The good news is that they've discovered project management. This has given them the tools they need to prevent their usual Christmas emergency. For example, they now know that the North Pole decorations need to be finished soon so that other critical tasks can start on time. The bad news is they realize they have a different emergency. According to their resource planning, none of them have any time left to decorate the North Pole. To save Christmas, the elves need you to finish decorating the North Pole by December 12th. Collect stars by solving problems. 2 puzzles will be made available on 2 puzzles. Second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Ooh, stars. You arrive to the secret entrance to the North Pole base ready to start decorating. Unfortunately, the password seems to have changed, so you can't get in. A document taped to the wall helpfully explains, due to new security protocols, the password is locked at the safe below. Please see the attached document for the new combination. The safe has a dial with only an arrow on it. Around the dial are the numbers 0 through 99. So we have a lock. We have 0 to like 99. As you turn the dial, it makes a small click noise as it reaches each number. The attached document, your puzzle input, contains a sequence of rotations, 1 per line, which tells you how to open the safe. A rotation starts with an L or an R, which indicates whether the rotation should be to the left toward lower numbers or to the right toward higher numbers. The rotation has a distance value, which indicates how many clicks the dial should be rotated in that direction. Okay, so it's kind of like a little lock. I actually use, of course, I know I have one. Here it is. I was gonna say, I knew I had one. No, my God, this is not the right kind of lock. Why did I think, okay, I thought this was one of those turning knobs. I actually used those in school. I don't know if they still have those in school or I'm just like old as fuck, but in like middle school, we had those little like turning locks that we had to use on our lockers. So you turn it to like the right and then you turn it to the left and then you turn it to the right, that kind of thing. But I guess this is how this works. Wow, I was convinced that I had one of those locks. So if the dial were pointing at 11, a rotation of R8 would cause the dial to point to 19. After that, a rotation of L19 would cause it to point at 0. If the dial were pointing at 11, then R8 would cause the dial to be pointing at 19, and then L19 would bring it to 0. Okay, that makes sense. Because the dial is a circle, turning the dial left from 0 1 click makes it point to 99. Similarly, turning the dial right from 99 1 click makes it point at 0. So if the dial were pointing at 5, a rotation of L10 would cause it to point at 95. After that, a rotation of R5 would cause it to point at 0. The dial starts by pointing at 50. Okay, so 0. You could follow the instructions, but your recent required official North Pole secret entrance security training seminar taught you that the safe is actually a decoy. The actual password, this seems important, actual password is the number of times the dial is left pointing at 0 after any rotation in sequence. Okay, they gave an example here. The dial starts by pointing at 50. The dial is rotated L68 to point at 82. The dial is rotated L30 to point at 52. Nope, left. The dial is rotated R48 to point at 0. L5 to point at 95. R60, L55 point at 0. Okay, and so on. Because the dial points at 0 a total of 3 times during this process, the password in this example is 3. Okay, I see. So it's not actually like the process of going through the entire thing and whatever it ends up on, like a traditional lock. It's the number of times you're actually at 0. Not passing 0, right? Yeah, we were actually at 0. So the dial is actually like pointing at 0. And the total number of times is the password. Analyze the rotations in your attached document. What's the actual password to open the door? To begin, get your puzzle input. Okay, cool. Get your puzzle input. Oh, cool. Okay, so you get this file and then you can solve it however you want. I'm gonna assume that's how this works. Okay, cool. So, let's see. I will be using my preferred programming language of Python. Okay, so how do we do this? We start at 50, and I'm wondering if we always get the input as like R or L as the first character and then a number. Because if that's the case, then you can just take a look at the first character. So if it's R34, you're adding to 50, but if it was L34, you'd be subtracting from 50, but then there's a situation where you're going above 99 or below 0, and if that's the case, you would just take the remainder. So if you're at like 101, then you'd be back at 1. If you like go way over it, if it's like I don't know, like 200, you'd end up at like 201, which in that case you would still take the remainder. So I'm guessing you're gonna have to mod it to get the remainder. So I'm thinking you can split it up because the first character is always gonna be R, L, and then after that's gonna be a number. Although that is not a very clever way of doing this. I'm sure there's a more clever way of doing it, but I feel like this is the most straightforward way to do it. Let me see. First step is to extract direction, so either the R or the L. And then the second step is to extract the number, and after that you know the direction, so you know you're either adding or you're subtracting. So if it's R, then add to, what do I want to call this? It's like the current number that the dial is pointing towards. I'll just say current number. If L, subtract from current number. So if at any point the current number is greater than 99, then current num becomes current num mod 100. So the idea is like, if at any point the current number is greater than 99, what you would do is you would divide the current number by 100, and then current number becomes whatever that remainder is. And similarly, if sorry, my handwriting's kind of messy right now. I'm going kind of fast because it kind of takes me a lot of time to like film and also do stuff. So it's like 11:27 now, and I want to make sure I can do this challenge and also do the second challenge, because I didn't know there were 2 challenges. Okay, anyways, so if current number is less than 0, then you'd also mod it, because if I'm at 0 and I go -56, that means I'm at 44. So I think this makes sense. Same as above. So after all of this, if current num is equal to 0, I'll need a way to keep track of the sum. So like sum, you add 1 to the sum, return sum. Okay. This seems a little suspicious. Let's just like code it up and go for it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm a slowpoke and it's past midnight. I'm like almost there, but I'm running into just a couple issues on the way, but it's past 12 now, so I hope I can still submit this. I was just thinking that I do the whole debugging process with you guys. So I'm testing right now and I forgot to convert my number into an integer. Num string, let's turn this guy into an integer, and I think you can do that just by using int. Okay. this again. 1,018. I want to try this, but I feel like I probably made a mistake along the way. Also, this is not the best way to do it. I just want to get something done fast. All right, let's see. Yay! Right answer, guys. 1 gold star. Cute. So I guess I can submit it even if it's past midnight. Oh, that's so cute. It says my name, then 1 star. Wait, let me show you. So this is what it looks like. 1 star. All right, I'm debating if I want to do part 2 because I'm kind of sleepy, but I think I'll at least like read through the question because it's probably going to add on to part 1. But before I do that, let me quickly explain to you guys what I did. I pretty much did exactly what I talked about. I just saved it as a text file and then went through it and then put everything into an array. For the actual function, I have a running sum which counts the zeros, and that's also the value we're going to return. I have the current value because we start at 50. And then I grab the array. Each value of the array is an instruction, so it's a turn. So I'm iterating through all these turns. In these turns, as I was saying earlier, the first character is the direction, and then the rest of it is the number in which you like dial it or whatever. There's definitely a much better way to do this. I also like did no air handling. Again, I was just like trying to do this kind of fast because I wanted my gold star, guys. But what I did, which you should not do. Oh my god, I didn't even give a spoiler warning. Okay, wait. Don't listen to what I'm gonna say if you're planning on doing this yourself. You should do it yourself because it's a lot of fun and it's good practice. Okay, you have been warned. So if you want to hear how I did it very simply, continue watching. So I take the first character, save that as direction. I take the rest of the characters and I save it as the numbers. We have 2 conditions. First one is if the direction is R. The second one is if the direction is L. So if the direction is equal to R, we're turning it to the right, which means we want to add the number to our current value. And if it's an L, which in this case I just used an else statement because we only have 2 options. If we have an L, we want to subtract num from the current value. Now, if our value is above 99 or if it's less than 0, we want to mod by 100. So in both those cases, we want to mod by 100 to grab the remainder. So that's essentially passing 0 in whatever direction. You grab the remainder, and that's actually the new current value. And if that current value is equal to 0, then you add 1 to the sum. And that sum is actually the return value, which is actually the password to enter the door to the North Pole, I think. Okay, I realized after saying that out loud that I'm really bad at like explaining things and talking through my thought process. I hope you were able to follow, but yeah, I don't think that's the best way to do it. I also did no air handling and it's kind of messy, but I guess that's the right answer. 1 gold star closer to decorating the North Pole. Okay, we'll continue to part 2. Part 2, you're sure that's the right password, but the door won't open. You knock, but nobody answers. You build a snowman while you think. That's so cute. As you're rolling the snowballs for your snowman, you find another security document that must have fallen into the snow. Due to the newer security protocols, please use password method. Okay, until further notice. You remember from the training seminar that method, whatever, means you're actually supposed to count the number of times any click causes the dial to point at 0, regardless of whether it happens during a rotation or at the end of one. Okay, so now we're like doing the situation where you're passing 0, and that also counts. Following the same rotations as in the above example, the dial points at 0 a few extra times during its rotations. Sorry, cocoa break. The dial starts by pointing at 50, the dial is rotated L68 to point at 82. During this rotation, it points at 0 once again. Oh, sorry. It points at 0 once. L30 pointing at 52, R48 to point at 0, L5 to point at 95, R60 to point at 55. During this rotation, it points at 0 once. Rotate to L50 to point at 0, and then L1 99, and then L99 to point at 0. The dial is rotated at R14 to point at 14, L82 to point 32. Okay. In this example, the dial points at 0 3 times at the end of the rotation, plus 3 more times during rotation, so the new password would be 6. Be careful, if the dial were pointing at 50, a single rotation like R1000 caused the dial to point at 0 10 times before returning back to 50. whatever that number is that number. I almost clicked it, guys. I went on Reddit because I was curious about whatever this number is. And someone said, could it be ASCII code? Decoding the method gives... But I'm not gonna click it. I'll click it after. Okay, I'm gonna tackle this. And then I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm really tired. So instead of if current value equals 0, actually we need that. We need that condition too, because if it equals 0, we also want to add to the sum. But we need to count the times it hits 0. So instead of modding, or maybe I do still mod, but I need to keep track of the times it hits 0 now, so I think I need to okay, I think I'm gonna need to floor divide, which just means dividing it and then rounding it down. Yeah, I think I need a floor divide by 100, because that means Hey everyone, editing Steph here. From this point on, it's pretty much just like another hour of me being confused and then eventually giving up. So I'm gonna speed this part up. Anyways, I figured it out the day after like an embarrassingly long time. Also, I definitely did not solve it in the best way, and my code is like extremely messy. But in case you're curious, I included a brief explanation at the end, so feel free to skip there. Anyways, cue me struggling in 3, 2, 1. Also, my camera's about to die, so I'm gonna charge you real quick while I figure this out. My camera has only charged 2%, so you might die on me, but I'm an idiot. Okay, figured it out. So, because I'm dividing by 100, if it's at 0, damn, I thought I was doing something there. And now I've drained my camera battery again. Alright, it's fine. Bringing my print statements back. Okay. Does that make sense? Let's see. Submit. That's not the right answer. Your answer's too low. Make sure you're using the full input data. Fuck. Guys, I have to wait 5 minutes before trying again. Oh my god. This one is making me a little angry and getting really sleepy because I'm spending way longer on this than I thought I was going to. And I've already submitted a wrong answer 5 times. I didn't realize that there was a cooldown. Like, I have to wait 5 minutes every time I get it wrong. So now I'm like, oh fuck, I like, have to get it right now. Is it bad if I give up for today? I fear this has gotten too messy, and I fear that it is my bedtime. I have made the executive decision to give up for the night, but I will revisit this. I'm gonna try again, probably tomorrow. I think I've just gotten too like mixed up in what I'm writing and the logic, and I didn't really plan out what I was gonna do for the second part like on paper. So I probably should have done that. So I'm gonna revisit this, do it again on paper, and hopefully get a solution that's working. Yeah, but I am gonna sign off for the night because I need to sleep. I'm so tired. And I feel like when I'm tired and I'm trying to code, I'm just like, what's going on? Yeah, but anyways, advent of code. Go get your gold stars. Go get them faster than I did. When you're doing this, or when you're coding in general, do not do anything that I do because I don't know what I'm doing. My code is so messy, especially this, because this is just me trying to work through the problem. So I hope that your code is cleaner, and I hope that it actually works, because this is kind of pissing me off. I just feel kind of stupid for not getting the second part, but I guess part of learning and also part of growing up is knowing when to stop. So I'm gonna stop for the night. Damn, it's kind of sad. I feel so dumb. Okay, I know I'll get it eventually though. By the time I upload this, hopefully I'll have something, but yeah, anyways, I am retiring for the night. But thank you for tuning in. I know it's a shorter vlog today, but I just wanted to pop by and make sure that you guys were aware that something like this exists. I hope you get a chance to work through the Advent of Code challenges, and I hope you learned something along the way. All right, I will catch you guys next time. Bye! Hello, editing Steph here. I just thought I'd pop in and let you guys know that I finally got part 2, and that it took an embarrassingly long time, but I got it after like 7 tries too, which is rough, but I figured out what I was doing wrong. Oh, also I cleaned up my code for part 1, because what I had in the video, yikes. I left my comments in there, feel free to take a look. I don't know if they'll make much sense, but feel free to take a look. Also, I think I mentioned this in a video, but I solved this in a very naive way. This is not the best way to do it. Don't do what I did. It's just what I wanted to do because I didn't want to spend too much time on it. But I did clean it up, so feel free to take a look. I will put it on the screen right now. So what I was doing before was I was modding by 100, so essentially after every turn I'd reset it so that it stays within 0 to 99. I shouldn't have done that, and I changed it so that I'm keeping like a running sum, so the total raw value, if you will. And I did that because my counts were all messed up in the beginning. I was double counting, there were times when I missed certain counts, and it was just a mess. Keeping track of the running sum just lets me know like the absolute location of the dial and just cleared up a bunch of miscounts. So I changed up my approach a little from the original one, but it's actually not too different. Overall structure is kind of the same. So if it's a right turn, I'll add the value to where the dial is, and if it's a left turn, I'll subtract it from where the dial is. I think this was what was tripping me up. So the 0, landing on a 0 or a multiple of 100, that was really throwing me off. So someone on Reddit actually had test cases that were really helpful. The way I changed it up is I now have a low end and a high end, so we're actually examining the full range. Within this range, the low end needs to have, my variables are named kind of goofily. So I called it upper boundary of low. It's like essentially the first boundary of the lower end and then the last boundary of the higher end, if that makes sense. So let's say I have 50, upper boundary of the lower end would be 100, and then if I have 150, the lower boundary of the high end would be 100. And how I count the crosses now is, so if the upper boundary of the lower end is less than the upper boundary of the higher end, that means we had some crosses happen. In order to calculate the cross, I find the difference of the two and then divide by 100 and then add 1 to it. In the example I gave, which I think was 50 and 150, the lower boundary of the high end is 100 and the upper boundary of 50 is 100 as well. So we find the difference, which is 0, and we add 1 to it. I feel like I need like a whiteboard or something. Let's say we're at 250. So if we're at 250, then the lower boundary of 250 would be 200. So if we go from 50 to 250, that means we've crossed twice now. And because the upper boundary of the low end is less than the upper boundary of the high end. So we take that difference, and the difference is 100. Divide by 100, that's 1 plus 1 is 2. So in that case, we crossed twice. From 50 to 250, we crossed twice. I hope this is all making sense. Let me know if I'm wrong, because I probably am. Who knows? I probably got lucky when I put that answer in. Last case I want to talk about is if we're at 100. So from 50 to 200. Upper bound of 50 is 100. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't think boundary was the right word to use here. I just meant like the first cross. It should be more like first multiple of 100 that counts as a cross. Okay, so 50 to 200. So for 50, then the first boundary would be 100. And if we're at 200, our first boundary would be 100 because we hit the case where we're at a multiple of 100. So in total, the difference is 0 divided by 100. That's 0 plus 1 is 1 crossing. And finally, we have to check to see if where we're at hit the 0 again. So if we hit the 0, we add 1 to the total because that also counts towards that password. Okay, that was a lot, and I don't even know if I should include this because I feel like me explaining it probably just made it even more confusing because that was not a very good explanation. But anyways, just want to come here and say that I finally got it after a really, really long time. And that I hope you guys give it a go and have fun with it. Anyways, I'm gonna keep editing and I will see you guys later. Bye!